Okay, so hopefully this time around the recording will work. So I'm going to take you through building a wizard. So the three main stats for wizard are going to be intelligence as your primary for spellcasting, dexterity because you don't want to get hit much, and constitution in case you do get hit. So out of the 6 stats, strength, dex, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, we want to prioritize intelligence over dexterity, over constitution, over everything else. So we do intend to get a 20 for intelligence. As we're a wizard, that's the max you can get a stat at level 1. And then dexterity, we probably want something 16 is what we're going to aim for, because it's a +3 modifier, so that's great. Strength we don't really care about, we're using it as a dumping stat. Same goes for wisdom and charisma. And constitution, we want to get somewhere between 12 and 14. We're playing 20 points, so we can probably get the 14. So we're going to do that. So off our 20 point buy, we want to buy all these stats. First of all, we're going to have to pick a race though. So for race, there's probably about 4 or 5 you want to look at, for wizard in particular. So you probably want to weigh them up. First of all, we have humans. They have a bonus feat at level 1, which is extremely powerful. They get a +2 racial bonus to any one ability if you're choosing, so intelligence, dexterity, whatever you choose. And then they've got proper base movement speed. They have a language. We can get 5 more languages with an int score of 20. And then they've got a whole bunch of alternate racial traits that they can get, which are really strong. But you pick them mainly for this extra feat. And this skills is alright, but not the best. As for elves, they get gains on 2 of our stats, which is dex and intelligence, but they have a minus on our 3rd one, so not the best. They've got great immunities because they've got elven immunity. They can't be put to sleep by magic causes. They've got perception bonuses, which is great, and they've got racial bonuses on spell casting and resistance. They also get elven weaponry familiarity, which is not that important for a caster at all, but they have low light vision, so they can see twice as far as humans in bad conditions. So in low light, instead of seeing 15 foot, they can see 30 or 60 instead of 30, depending on the light level. Sylph also get the same bonuses, which is really good. They also have energy resistance to electricity, which is also very good because it stops you getting denied by another caster. They have Featherfall, which is a spell-like ability, which is amazing, but not that important. This is the good part, the dark vision. They can see 60 foot in the dark, which is crazy good. They also have bonuses for elemental bloodlines, but that's sorcerer, so not important. Next we have rat folk. They have the dexterity and intelligence bonuses, but instead of constitution they take a negative strength, which is better than previously. They also have an AC bonus and size bonus, but get combat maneuvered losses, which isn't that great, but they have a stealth check bonus, which isn't too bad. The real downfall of them is their speed. They're a small creature, so they only have 20 foot movement, which sucks. They've got a couple other nice things like use magic device in crafting, but not very important. Tiefling, which is the one I actually ended up choosing when I thought about this, have +2 dexterity, +2 int, and -2 charisma, another dumping stat like strength with the ratfolk. They have normal movement speed, which is good. They begin with 2 languages, which is great. Their resistances are amazing. They have everything except earth, and they get bonuses to bluff and stealth, which aren't important, but they get the spell-like ability darkness, which lets them coat an area with darkness, causing near blindness on a lot of enemies, which is great for area of effect control on the battlefield, which is what this wizard is based after. They also have dark vision, which is fantastic. Finished sorcery isn't relevant either. So we are going to pick Tiefling, and we're going to start by looking at their 2 bonuses, which are their intelligence and dexterity with the -2 charisma. So our racial race is Tiefling, and we have the modifiers of +2 dex, +2 int, and -2 charisma. Now this 20 here has to actually have the +2 involved, because the highest you can roll with 3d6 or 3 6-sided dice is 18, so that's the highest ability score you can actually buy. So to add these modifiers into this, what we would really need to buy these stats is X, a 14, another 14, an 18, an X, and an X minus 2. So this we don't want this to go below 7. That's why we're just chucking the minus 2 in there. So first of all, we'll weigh up what we do need. To buy an 18 will cost us 17 points. To buy a 14, they're going to be 5 each. So for our good stats, that's going to cost us 27 points. Now we only have 20 and 8 from our pool, so from these other 3 stats we have to get -7 to this. So a 7 ability score is worth -4 points. So we're going to take that one in strength, because we would prefer to have wisdom higher if we could, but we don't really care as much. But strength and charisma can drop as much as they like. So we're going to go -4 from there. So we need 3 more. So if we drop this to 9, this X to 9, this will then go to 7 after the modifier. And so that'll give us 1 extra point for going to 9. And then this one here, we need 2 points, so it has to go to 8. So we go -2 and that goes to 8, and that gives us -7. These join together to make 20. Easy peasy. So from that we get 7 strength, 14 dexterity, 14 constitution, 18 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 9 charisma, and then it's -2 after, and then we're going to add our mods. It's from our race, and that gives us 7 strength, 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 20 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 7 charisma. Now that we have our stats, we can take them and put them up into this table over here. Okay. So from there we have 7 strength, 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 20 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 7 charisma. Now for ability modifiers, 10 is a 0, and then 9 is -1, and every 2 down it goes to another negative. The opposite occurs with bonuses, where a 12 is +1, 14 +2, etc. It goes on even numbers compared to negative numbers, odd numbers in the negative zone. So this is going to be 9 gives -1, 7 gives -2 modifier. This will give +3 because it's half. It's 10. Take 10 away from that, then halve it. Same occurs here, but it gets a +2. So this one gets +5. This is a -1, and this is another -2. So our stat pool is +5, which is good. 20 points applies, so +5 worth of stats. So you could have 1 across each, but that's the stupidest thing ever. Okay. Now we go to our saving throws. So this is when you take specific types of damage. Now that can be found under the specific for your class. So this is a wizard, so his saving throws will be 0, 0, and +2. So base save is 0 for fortitude, 0 for reflex, and +2 for will. Now ability modifier is the points from up here. So constitution, we gain a +2 ability modifier, so that becomes +2. For reflex, we have +3 through dexterity. And through wisdom, we have a -1. So now we have a total of 2, 3, and 1. So our will save ended up poor, but that's not an issue as it scales really well because we're a wizard. With base attack bonus, wizards start with a 0, that was in the same table before. And here is initiative. Our initiative bonus for dexterity is a 3. So just write that in for now. We will get a miscellaneous bonus later on, but we'll talk about that then. As for hit dice, wizard is a 6-sided dice, as you can see in the table for the class, a d6. So we get 6 hit points at level 1. Because we get the max dice roll at level 1 for our hit points, and then each time you level up you gain 1 dice roll worth of hit points. So now that we have no damage resistance, just by the way. Some classes gain it, like Barbarian gains damage resistance every few levels, but that's not important for us. Okay. So now over to our AC and table. So first of all, we are going to need armor. In our second page we have an equipment list. Over here we have armor, class and gear. So I am going to buy leather armor for this wizard, which will come out of my starting gold, but will be discussed later. So that gives an armor bonus of 2. I can look it up here. Armor and shields, leather. 10 gold cost, 2 armor, 6 dexterity bonus, maximum, 0 armor check penalty, and a 10% arcane failure. So we get a type, it is a light armor, so we write L. Check penalty is 0 from that table. Spell failure is a 10% chance to fail on arcane cast. Speed was 30 foot. The maximum dexterity is 8, and the weight was either 10 or 5 pounds, 10 pounds. So we write a 10 there for weight. And so we bought that armor, leather armor. So we write that in our equipment. Okay. So now we can go back to here and fill in our armor bonus of 2. And our dexterity bonus is a 3 from our modifier over here. And that gives us a total of 15. 10 plus 2 plus 3. For here we do the same thing, except we ignore the armor value, as touch is when someone is able to bypass your armor by physically touching you with a hand or something similar that ignores your armor. So we get our dexterity bonus only because it's our ability to dodge the attack. So that becomes 13. Our flat-footed, however, is the opposite. Say someone sneaks up behind you and tries to stab you in the back. The only thing guarding you is whatever you're wearing, so you only get your armor bonus, which is plus 2 here. 10 for base, becomes a 12. Good, good. CMD stands for Combat Maneuver Defense. So this should be a plus sign. Our base attack bonus, which is 0 in this case, because we're a wizard. Our dexterity bonus is a 3. Our strength bonus is a -2, so that's a negative. And because we're a medium creature, our size bonus is 0. If we were a small creature like the rat folk, it would be a -1. If we were a large creature like a half ogre, it would be a +1. So we add that together. 10 plus 3 is 13, minus 2 is 11. This number represents when someone's trying to grapple you. That is the check they need to beat on a d20, so a 20-sided dice. They also get this combat maneuver bonus, which we're going to do now, added into that. So ours is going to be a base attack bonus of 0, -2 for strength, a 0 for our size, and we have no miscellaneous, so our total is just -2. This number is what we add to our roll when trying to trip, grab, run through, or something of the like to an enemy. And so that checks against their CMD. Okay. Our speed is 30 foot because we're a tiefling, and that's what it is. That's a racial thing, which happens to be 6 squares. Squares are 5 foot square, so 5 foot 5 foot like that. We have spell resistance due to our race, which is tiefling. So here we have Fiendish resistance, 5 resistance against everything except earth. So we write 5 except earth. Okay, now we move over to skills. Okay, so first of all you have to check your class skills. So for wizard, we have, I can find them. This isn't wizard, that's race, that's why. Here we go. So we have appraise, craft, fly, knowledge of all, which is important, linguistics, profession, and spellcraft. Appraise, craft, fly, knowledge of all. Linguistics. Profession. And spellcraft. Wonderful. Now, skill ranks can be assigned each level, but only to a degree that does not exceed your level. So if you have 0 in something and you hit level 4, you can then choose to add 4 skill ranks but no more to that. Or if you're level 1 in this case, the number of skill ranks you can assign to each individual thing is 1 maximum. So our skill ranks per level are going to be equal to 2 plus our intelligence modifier, which is a +5 as deemed by our stats earlier, +5. So we go back here. So we have 2 plus 5, we have 7 to assign. So I'm going to place these reasonably arbitrarily. 1 in appraise, because that way you can see different types of weaponry and what they're worth. 1 in flying, because everyone wants to fly. Knowledge all, because it's useful. Linguistics, because it's useful. Spellcraft, because it's wonderful. Stealth, because we have a high dexterity bonus and it would be fun to... We also have a racial bonus to it, which will become a miscellaneous bonus. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Need to assign 1 more. We're going to disable device just in case. So this is used for getting around traps. Now this is a class skill, so we get a miscellaneous bonus of 3. 1 plus 3 plus our intelligence modifier gives us 9, because our intelligence modifier is equal to 5. Each skill, whether it has skill ranks or not, will get an innate bonus. So acrobatics is a dexterity one, so we have +3 to dexterity because we're wonderful. And you can fill each of those out as such. We know our bonuses just for these raw ones. We have int here, so we're going to get 5, 5, 5. You don't really need to bother about these ones till you actually take the crafts. -2 here, 3, etc. I'm not going to continue all those. I'm just going to explain the ones that are important. All the ones we put ranks in, because if they've got this mark, meaning it's a class skill, we get a bonus. So this is going to come out at 7. This is going to get its 3 bonus, come out at 9. This bonus only occurs once for putting skill ranks in it. So if you put another 20 in, you still only get a 3 bonus, not a 60 bonus, as that would be ridiculous. We're going to get a bonus for this one because we put a skill rank in it. It's a class skill. This one we did not put a skill rank in, so we don't get any bonuses for here. We just get this wisdom modifier, which for us is a -1. For spellcraft, we get the 3 bonus because it's a class skill. It becomes a 9. For stealth, we don't get a class skill bonus because we don't have it, but because we are a tiefling and we have our racial feats, we gain a +2 racial bonus on bluff and stealth checks. So we get a miscellaneous bonus of here of +2. Then when we add our dexterity, our 1, so that gives us 4, +2 is 6. We have a 6 bonus to stealth, which is interesting for a wizard. Actually, I should have put a miscellaneous bonus for bluff from that same ability, which means that we actually have 0 increase to bluff. This is a really big razor. So that becomes a 0. Okay. So you can fill all those out. Every single one needs to be filled out, except for these. You can ignore these ones here. Okay, moving on to the next sheet. So we filled out our armor class. Okay, so in feats, we are a level 1, so we look at our character advancement. At level 1 we get a single feat. We don't gain any feats at level 1 from our class, and we don't get bonus feats from our race. So we are stuck with just 1. Now, for this feat, as I am a wizard, I'm going to want something that allows me to act faster. So I'm going to take improved initiative, which gives me a +2 to initiative. I cannot find the feats page. Here we go. Feats database. So this is where you can look up those feats. I'll make a later video on how to do a complete feat path for a level 20 fighter, which is 22 feats. So we want improved initiative. It gives, you get a +4 bonus to initiative checks. So that's what we're going to take. Initiative is basically your turn order, it decides. So going first as a wizard is this kind of wizard at least, which is a battle control wizard, is very important because it means that you can create a wall between you and the enemy before they can attack you, and you can negate damage that way. So because we changed our miscellaneous bonus for that, we get a +4 to initiative, which comes from our feat. So that becomes a total of 7, which is quite good for level 1. Under traits, we are able to select any 2 social, regional, combat traits, but only one of each category for our character. So I have chosen one of them, which is classically schooled. I gain +1 trait bonus on spellcraft checks, and spellcraft is always a class skill. So I write classically schooled. These generally are relevant to your character's backstory, but some people like to do it for their stats if you are an optimizer like me. I like to optimize, but it's not important. So now that we have a +1 bonus to spellcraft in our stats, we add a +1, and so this changes into a 10 from a 9, which is very good. Spellcraft is used for the use of magical items or the creation of magical items often. So we'd have to pick another trait. I'm going to pick whatever I find on the list first. Death Dodger. Here is a combat trait. So classically schooled is a magic trait. So it's a different trait to Death Dodger. So this is +1 to reflex saves. So Deft Dodger. +1 reflex. So on our first page, we go back to our saving throws on the left hand side, and in these 2 boxes where there's a miscellaneous bonus, we add +1 for Death Dodger. So that changes our total save value to a +4, meaning that any time a save is called for us to act quickly based on reflex, we will get +4 to whatever we roll, meaning that we're less likely to be affected by flame spitting traps and things like that. As for racial traits, they all come directly from the race you have selected. So under Tiefling, we have Fiendish Resistance, Skilled, Spell-like Ability, and Dark Vision. Spell-like Ability will be put on the 3rd page though, as it's a magical racial trait. So we're going to write Dark Vision, Skilled, and Fiendish Resistance. Dark Vision. Awesome. So on the next part, it is a class feature. We have spell-like ability, and then we have darkness. And then we'd write the description of darkness underneath it, which is Tieflings can use darkness once per day as a spell-like ability. Cast level equal to Tiefling's class level. So cast darkness is basically what it does. that's once per day. As for languages, we begin speaking Common, and a choice of Infernal or Abyssal. So, because we have a +5 intelligence modifier, we get to select an extra 5 languages. So I'm going to take Infernal as my innate, by Abyssal, and then I have a choice of 4 more out of a list based around the name. So Draconic, Dwarven, Elven, Gnome, Goblin. I'm just going to take the first 4, which is Draconic, Dwarven, Elven, Gnome. Okay, so I now speak all 7 of those languages. These 5 at the end come from me having a +5 modifier to intelligence. Under class features though, I forgot something. You start off with different abilities based on your level of class. So we are playing as a wizard. So under our main thing, these are our special abilities: Arcane Bond, Arcane School, Cantrips, and Scribe Scroll. Okay, Arcane Bond, we're going to take a familiar, because losing your staff and being unable to cast magic is the worst thing I can think of. Arcane School, we're going to take Conjuration as our main school, because Conjuration is really useful for summoning monsters to help, and walls and other nice things. And we're going to do badly in Necromancy, because Arcane School means you need to pick 2 that you sacrifice knowledge in to gain greater knowledge in the other one. So we're going to underline the one we did well in, and then just have these ones here. So Necromancy, and we're going to have Evocation, because we want Illusion and all those nice ones. So we're just going to take a hit there, because we have no better option. Okay, so now that Cantrips are level 0 spells, by the way, that you can use an infinite number of times. So, spells known, this is the 3rd page. This is our spell sheet basically. Fighter classes won't use this, but they'll have extra feats, which are a pain in the butt to keep track of. So, we start with 3 level 0s, or 3 cantrips, and 1 first level spell. So we write spells known, we know 3 cantrips, and 1 level 1 spell. The spell save DC is equal to the spell level plus 10 plus your casting modifier. For a wizard, intelligence is the casting modifier. So we get our base 10 plus 0 for a 0 level spell plus 5 for intelligence modifier. So we get 15. First level spell, the only difference is the level is increased 1, so the DC will increase 1 as well. This will be a 17, an 18, a 19, 20, and that'll continue all the way down through to 9th level spells. As you level up, you get higher level spells and more uses of previous levels. So for spells per day, we get 1, and for our school, we get a bonus conjuration. If we were to take a level 1 of necromancy or evocation, it would actually take up 2 spell slots, and that would be kind of annoying. Still usable, but more annoying. The difference is with a wizard compared to some spellcasters, they know every spell, but they can only keep a set number in their spell book, which is what they're scribing as. So they, at the start of each day, can select from their list of spell a number of spells to carry with them for that day. Of course, they can be the same every day, or they can change depending on what they feel. Cantrips level 0s, we get 3 of, so that's right, 3. They have an infinite number of uses. Generally these try to be utility based spells, so we are going to take a few from the spell book. We are going to take the very simple ones. We're going to take from here. We're going to, from divination, we're going to take detect magic and read magic, and from anything else we can take whatever we want. There's useful stuff, or we can cause something like mage hand or damage. We're using those ones as useful things, so some sort of damaging spell could be good, else using mending or a message or something is way better. I would suggest taking 3 utility cantrips, as you want to be able to spam utility. Resistance is very good, so we're going to take that. So we're going to go detect magic. Read magic. And resistance. Okay. As for school, detect magic is divination, so is read magic, and resistance is abjuration. So you can just write shorthand for those. I actually can't remember what these mean, but this is spell resistance, so they're innate abilities. This is something to do with lower upper arcane failure. I'm not 100% sure. I've never actually used it. Detect magic has a range, area, and duration, so we can look that up in the spellbook. So we have simply in divination, 60 foot, and scrolls and spellbooks. So no range, and that is a touch. You have to be in touch range. This one is 60 foot. So this is 60 foot. This is a touch. You need to be able to touch the scroll or spellbook, and this is the same. You need to be able to touch whatever you're doing things to. As for duration, we can look them up individually by following the links on the spells. So detect magic has 1 minute per level. You have to be concentrating, so you have to specify that. So 1 min per level. As for read magic, we can look that up as well, and that is going to be 10 minutes per level, which is pretty good. As for resistance, I'm pretty sure it's a set number of rounds equal to your level, but we'll check. It is 1 minute. I was wrong. So that doesn't increase. So detect magic, detects magic, that's obvious. Spell books and scrolls, that's very specific, because it can't be off a wall or something like that. It has to be a spell book or a scroll. As for this, it adds +1 to saves, which is very useful. Now, those are our 3 cantrips. They can be used as many times as we want throughout the day, but we also get one spell, and we get a bonus cast if it is from conjuration. So we will go back to the spell book, move down to level 1 spells, and pick something from conjuration so we can cast it twice. Mage armor is amazing, as well as Summon Monster 1, where you can use a monster to help you. But I think that we should definitely go for mage armor, just because we can chuck that on the big stupid fighter and he will do crazy things with it. And as we level up, that can be cast more times, more people. That's conjuration, so we get an extra spell cast. That is a touch range spell, so I have to be touching the big stupid fighter for that to happen. The duration, however, is not the best. You can also buy potions of this, so once you start buying potions of this, it's 1 hour per level. So it's crazy good. I lied. And that gives +4 armor. So that adds to their AC as if they were wearing plate mail, which is really good. We also have at the bottom, I like to list them this way because it's easier, because you're never going to lose these. You have darkness as a spell-like ability. So where it says level, we are at SL for spell-like. Ignore these ones, and we have 1 per day casts. So under our SR, we don't actually write anything, but we only get 1 per day. And then you fill in those from the spell book. It'll be there. Just look it up. It's easier than me going through it for you. So under here, this is spell-like ability / notes. We're going to write darkness. Our domain specialty school is conjuration, as we chose earlier. And we have negative necro and negative evocation. Okay, and that's how you set up that. That is in fact a wizard. So between those 3 pages we have a wizard. The only thing different is when you buy equipment you'll get a weapon. Mages, because we have high dexterity, we're probably going to opt for some sort of hand bow or crossbow, because we can still cast spells while holding it as long as they're verbal incantations and those sorts of things. So we're going to start with a crossbow because it's going to be reasonably cheap. We can afford it, but we only start with like 70 gold, so we've got to be careful. So our base attack bonus is 0. The weapon bonus, as it's not a +1 crossbow, is going to be 0. Our ability, because it's a ranged weapon, is dexterity. We have no feat for it. Our size is the same. We have no miscellaneous bonuses. So our 2 attack, so when trying to hit someone, we add +3 to whatever we roll. Now we look up the stats of the weapon. We look for weapons. We are proficient with simple weapons, so it's going to be a hand crossbow that we're using. I might actually just specify that. It's a hand crossbow. Simple range. Oh, we can use a light crossbow even, it doesn't need to be a hand crossbow. We're a medium-sized creature, so it does 1d8, and this is all its crit range and stuff. So we're going to use a light crossbow. I lie, it's not a hand crossbow. It's a light one. Its crit range is 19 to 20, meaning if you roll between 19 and 20, you get to try and confirm a critical strike, and it's always a hit. Not necessarily a critical. It's an 80-foot range. It's piercing, if I recall. Yep. It's a piercing weapon. And we're going to buy 20 crossbow bolts, just as an arbitrary value. Okay, it hits for 1d8 from that same page. The weapon has a 0 bonus to its damage. Strength modifier, it's actually a ranged weapon, so dexterity determines this. This should read mod, not strength. So that's a 3. We have no feat bonus and no miscellaneous bonus. So we will deal 1d8 of damage plus 3. Okay, we're also going to take a simple hand dagger. They have a 15-foot range when thrown, so we write 15 foot, and we have 1 of those. Their crit is determined by this, so for a dagger we do 1d4, 19 to 20, oh, it's a 10-foot range, my mistake. So they are 19 to 20 yet again, like a crossbow, and they are piercing and slashing. Yes, you can do both. We have a 0 bonus here, 0 bonus here. It's a melee weapon, so we get our strength modifier here for ability. No feat, no size, and no miscellaneous. The die is a single d4. The weapon has 0 bonus. It's a melee weapon, so we take strength yet again. Nothing here, nothing here. We get a -2 on attack rolls to hit with it, and we deal 1d4 -2 with a min of 1. So that's how you set up weapons, but we will actually do weapons when we start play. that was helpful for helping you guys set up your characters. And, oh, actually, I forgot to do this part. My bad. So, character name is simple. You just name him whatever you want. This is Bob. Here's a chaotic neutral. This would generally be determined by your backstory or the party you're working with. The player, I am our DM, so that's me. I'm a level 1. My homeland is our campaign land, Wales. I haven't named the campaign, so you can just ignore that for now. I chose to be a tiefling. I have no deity. I am a medium-sized creature. I am male. I am 70 years old. I am 5'8", weigh 140 pounds, grey hair, and red eyes. It's that simple. Well, hope that helped.